Yeah, how you doing, Nate?
Pretty good. Busy week. I started a new job, so my schedule is not so much free anymore, but it's been good.
That's what's up. Hey, you want to go ahead and just jump into this crazy shit?
Yeah, sure.
Because it's been like...
I don't know if you want to talk about it too, but last night, once I got home from work, it was an impulse buy. I bought the Lucha Libre World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not WWE related, but if you want something else to talk about, we can talk about that too.
Well, for the podcast sakes, let's start red hot.
Okay.
All right. So a lot of shit over the past 3 weeks. It's been how long? It's been 5 weeks since we spoke?
I'm not even sure.
Well, it's been a hot minute.
It's been a while.
Yeah. And I'm going to start off red hot. And you probably don't like this as much, but the demise of TNA.
Yeah, we can talk about that, because that's something that's kind of within the times and stuff like that.
Well,
so
yeah, I fucking... So as soon as I get done with Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, I go, I try to upload all this shit, and immediately I see something on the Solid Monster Sound Off message board about Dave Meltzer reporting that TNA has been canceled from Destination America.
But not until September.
Yeah, but like still, it's like it's almost like Bill Simmons. Bill Simmons is still on contract with ESPN, but they took his ass off, and they're not renewing his contract. So
yeah,
I find it odd, because I think one of my biggest things going into this was that Destination America is on on a really weird channel. You gotta basically buy the subscription of Destination America or get a certain package with that in it, right?
I actually had it in my package, but even though I have it, I'm still not gonna watch it.
Okay. So they would get like 300,000 people watching it. Like that was like the average.
Okay. Speaking of what we're talking about right now, I just literally saw a tweet, and it says, I don't know how good of a source it is from, but it says Dixie Carter apparently sent an email to the president of Destination America and called him a dumbass, and then no showed a quarterly meeting.
Oh wow! So it's serious, because at first it was just like what?
But then this person goes on to say, but remember, these are all lies spread by that TNA hater Dave Meltzer. So I don't know if that's true or if it's just something that Dave said and it's not true because of a lot of people think that Dave Meltzer's a liar. Which I wouldn't necessarily say that. I mean, I trust him over say Wade Keller, but Dave Meltzer is still going to get stuff wrong. So who knows if that's accurate? But I just thought it was something that I should share because.
But Dave Meltzer isn't a guy who just all of a sudden comes up with these crazy ideas, these crazy things, and decides that he wants to put them out there. Just like any other guy in professional sports, whether it's Schefter or all these guys in the NFL or the NBA, these are sources, inside sources that they get, and that's their job, to be a guy who, if you want to break a story, you send it to them. Why would he come up with something like this out of the blue?
Yeah,
it makes no sense. So if anyone's saying that this is a lie, this is a lie. I mean, it's not okay, so he's not I'm not a big fan of Dave Meltzer, but like for the past couple of years that I've known of him, he's been hitting a lot of things on the head. And you don't want to go out thinking like, oh shit, like, oh, we've been had by Dave Meltzer. Like, how often is that?
Yeah. Well, when he's right, he's right. But when he's wrong, he's really wrong. And there's no, like, from my experience with, like, looking at what he contributes and stuff, there's no in between. He's either dead on or he's, like, way off the mark.
Well, my thing is this, and this I was talking about like percentages of people who watch that show. It's like like 300,000 people. Now I'm not sure how many people watch Destination X, but I'd imagine that 300,000 people probably.
You mean Destination America?
Destination America outweighs any other programming that they have, right? You would think. Like, what is the other programming on Destination America that could even come close to 300,000 to 400,000 viewers?
Nothing, because that network is like, it's pretty much it's not obsolete because it exists, but it's pretty much a non-existent network.
Okay, so
because like prior to them getting TNA, nobody knew what Destination America was, and now people that want to still watch TNA are calling their cable providers to get Destination America added to their package because they want to watch TNA.
Uh-huh.
So that just speaks, I mean, you know me, I'm not a fan of TNA, but that just speaks volumes of how like loyal TNA fans are, that they're willing to get a channel that they're only going to watch for like 2 hours every Friday night.
Yeah.
Or whenever the hell they're on.
And you look at all the things that's been happening. By the way, people who listen on SoundCloud, just to let you guys know, I'm also periscoping this. This is like my first time ever periscoping, and it seems like I got 3 people watching. So the people that are watching on Periscope or listening, I'm actually talking to Nathan Newman. Nathan Newman is of Eyes on the Ring Radio. What else do you do?
Pretty much just Eyes on the Ring. I write for them. I do ROH reviews. I do the radio show for Eyes on the Ring. I do this, and then I was just on last night. Blog Talk Radio went retarded, so we did not have an Eyes on the Ring Eyes on the Ring radio show last night. So a buddy of mine who I've known for 11 years called me and said he was talking wrestling, so if I wanted to get on, I could. So I did that for like 45 minutes.
Okay. Well, no, I was just letting the people know. I was just letting you got to go too much into detail. I was just letting the people know that who are actually watching on Periscope, and those who are listening, that we're like, this is actually like a Skype conversation. So if you're just looking at me talk and you just hear like a random voice, it's actually coming from a speaker, and I'm recording with my cell phone. So just putting that out there. But yeah, back to TNA. So they get Billy Corgan in that motherfucker, and you would think that would actually be like a huge help as well. Like, what are the guys at Destination H thinking with all the press that they've gotten over the past couple of weeks with, one of the biggest rock stars in the world being Billy Corgan, to be affiliated and getting all like mainstream press, and then that still not being good enough? I think that there's like an internal issue. I think it's not the ratings. I think it's maybe who's ever running Destination America, or what is that, the Discovery Channel? Maybe there's something else involved. Maybe there's advertisers who's like, nah, we're not trying to fuck with you, and they don't understand the idea of distributing wrestling, and the fact that that's one of the biggest problems with wrestling, is that like you don't get a lot of sponsorship. A lot of sponsors don't even want to get near it. Or maybe a conversation with one of the main guys, with maybe someone from the TNA camp, that probably got a little heated.
Okay.
No, I'm throwing it out there. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what it could be. What the whole You're talking about like the whole situation between TNA and Destination America and how it's soured.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, because when they got off Spike and they found Destination America, it seemed to be a pretty good relationship. Like, Destination America was giving them all, in addition to their 2-hour slot, they had like a TNA Unlocked, which was pretty much like a reruns or whatever of TNA, and they would like basically have pop-ups with like facts about the company and what was going on in that episode. So they were really big on trying to promote TNA and whatnot. And it wasn't that short-lived, or it wasn't that long, because between like 1 or 2 weeks, something happened and it all soured. And then Destination America came out and said that TNA would no longer be carried as of September.
Wow.
So, and I mean, it's weird. Like, usually networks, when they pick up a show, will do a trial run or an initial, like, short-term contract to see if they want it.
Like a year, like 4 quarters.
Yeah.
Like 4 quarters.
Yeah. But this was literally like, they had their first show, and things were seemingly going very well. And then 2 weeks later, I remember seeing a tweet from somebody, or maybe it wasn't a tweet, maybe it was an article I read on Lords of Pain or something like that, but it said that the relationship between TNA and Destination America had soured within that 2-week period. So, and we still don't know what happened between, because my guess it was some disagreement between a Destination America representative and Dixie Carter, but I don't know what that disagreement would have been. So it's really hard to say.
I'd imagine it probably had a lot to do with the numbers, where they leave Spike TV and it's like what, maybe how many, like 1 million? They would average around like 1 million viewers, right?
They only hit 1 million viewers one time.
Okay, so you say,
and it was on January 4th, 2010.
So you say
when
like
they went head to head with Raw.
Okay, so like 900,000.
I wouldn't even say that. I'd say like maybe 700,000.
So 700,000. So 700,000, and now Destination America has 300,000. That's half of their promised fan base.
Yep.
And I think it's like, hey, you know what? Where's that other 400,000? Where's that other 400,000 or 500,000 people? And they were left scratching their heads, and maybe they thought they were had. I don't know. I mean, you never know with shit like this, but I do think it's pretty amazing for them to be so new to the network, and them just to basically be like, nah, fuck that, we out. And with, especially with the whole Billy Corgan edition, that's what blows me away more than anything. You got people who are just going to tune in to see, Billy Corgan fans who know he's a wrestling fan, and just like kind of tune in just to see what's up. But by that time, when would Billy Corgan stuff would have actually gone in? Because I don't know how deep the tapings are. You know what I'm saying?
Well, given how TNA, from what I've heard, how TNA tapes things, they tape like 2 or 3 months in advance. So the stuff from Billy Corgan that we will probably see won't happen until August. And if that's the case, we're currently in May. So given the 2 to 3 month span, we're looking at July, August at the earliest for when the Billy Corgan stuff will start airing. And by that time, September will be rolling around, and it'll be too late.
Do you think GFW will absorb them?
If they want to be a legit number 2 to the WWE, they will have to.
Because that's crazy. Because you talk about a guy who left TNA, and Jeff Jarrett,
But I don't know if you know this, he still holds 15% stock in that company.
Oh, so it seems even more likely
Yeah.
if that decides to fold. I mean, well, I guess.
Yeah, like he has nothing to do with TNA anymore from a day-to-day operations, but he still is a primary stockholder within that company.
Wow. Okay. Things about to get interesting.
You didn't know that?
No, not at all.
Oh, wow.
I know he started it, right?
He founded the company with his dad, Jerry Jarrett, and I don't know when Dixie Carter and Panda Energy came along. So, because Dixie Carter's parents own a energy company called Panda Energy. They bought the company sometime, I want to say, maybe late 2009. They bought the company before they tried to go head-to-head with Raw on Monday nights. Because Dixie was the owner by then. But I don't know when Jeff Jarrett completely pulled out of the company.
He pulled out around the same time. It wasn't that long ago. It was around the time where they were like cutting costs and they got rid of AJ Styles. It was around that same time.
So that would have been like last January or something like that.
Yep.
Of like 2014.
Yep.
Okay.
Like they got rid of like Kazarian. What do they call the what is it?
Well, now they're Kazarian and Daniels.
Yes.
They're called the Addiction now,
yeah.
But I can't remember what they were called in TNA.
I don't even think they were a tag team at that time. I think they were just.
Yeah, they were.
Oh, okay, but like
they're former TNA World Tag Team Champions.
Okay, but there was like a whole exodus of guys that they just cut bait with, and they were one of them. AJ Styles was one of them, and then
and all those guys are now in ROH.
Yes.
Like Samoa Joe before he showed up on NXT.
Ooh.
This last Wednesday, he was in Ring of Honor. And then, I don't know if you heard about this or saw the tweet that TNA sent out, but somebody said that, or somebody from TNA hopped on their account and said that TNA created Samoa Joe, meaning made him a star. And then everybody jumped on the TNA account and said, no, haven't you guys heard of Ring of Honor?
Yeah.
Because he was a champion for 23 months in Ring of Honor, killing people and just having great matches before he was ever in TNA.
Well, how about this? Since we're already on the topic, and we'll work, so we can either talk, we can talk WWE like Raw and Payback, or we can jump to NXT. What would you want to do?
I'm good with whatever. It's up to you.
Okay, so we don't have to move too much in anything. I think that the one thing that stands out the most that's happened in the WWE, say other than Payback. How did you feel about that, by the way? How did you like that pay-per-view?
I thought it was better than expected. Like, I went into it without that many expectations, and I was pleasantly surprised, and I enjoyed the show.
I know, right? That build was horrible. Now,
yeah.
You listen to Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, and it seems like the past 3 weeks, and I had to apologize because I was like, man, I never sound this negative about the WWE product, but for some fucking reason, they're fucking up. And then we get to the fucking pay-per-view, and this is what I've said before, like, a lot of the pay-per-views, they always kind of work themselves out somehow, like, except Elimination Chamber. Elimination Chamber was so bad. I mean, it was really
You mean
bad.
The one coming up?
No, I apologize. Extreme Rules, I meant to say.
Oh, okay.
It was so bad. I mean, like, torturously bad.
You're talking the show itself?
Yeah. And then leading to the build-up for Payback, and me just going like, oh, this is god-awful. And then Payback showing up, and it was like, wait a minute. It wasn't like a perfect score by any means, but like, and anyone who talks about how oh yeah, you appreciate it because your standards are low. It's like, nah, shut the fuck up. I just like it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be a Debbie Downer about something that I want to watch. You know, I don't.
That show to me, like if I had to grade it on a 10 scale, it would probably be like a 7.
Yeah, yep. The screwy finish for Neville and Barrett, that sucked.
Yeah. And like my main concern with like the network, and I knew this was going to happen eventually, but like you had Payback, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. Then you had Takeover, Unstoppable, which was a few days after that. And then today's Monday. So this Sunday, the 31st of May, you have Elimination Chamber. And then on June 14th, you have Money in the Bank.
Yeah, dude. Ridiculous.
So, and I found out that there is another show happening on June 14th that I really want to watch, so I might not even watch Money in the Bank live. So, I might order and watch this other show and then catch Money in the Bank later.
What is this other show?
It's the next pay-per-view for AAA.
Oh, okay. So have you always followed that, or are you just now getting more and more into it?
For the last year or so, I have.
Okay.
Like, and with Lucha Underground, I mean, Lucha Underground and AAA are kind of tied together.
Yeah, is that why? Is that why? Because you like the Lucha Underground product so much that you like, let me check out.
Well, yes, but even before Lucha Underground was a thing, I was heavily, like, I wouldn't say heavily, but I was a casual viewer of AAA and, like, CMLL to some extent. Mm-hmm. But now that it's, like, out there and you can get it at the ready, it's just something I like to watch because it's different.
Yeah, of course.
And, like, with the show last night, because it was basically a 6-man tag team tournament, or what they call in Mexico trios matches. Mm-hmm. And I pretty much knew the team that was going to win the entire time. So it was predictable in that sense, but it didn't take away from my enjoyment of it.
What stood out to you at Payback? Any one thing stood out to you? Anything like, that you popped for and thought was awesome, something that you actually hated, you wish they could have done differently?
My favorite thing about that show was the 2 out of 3 tag team title match. The 2 out of 3 falls tag title match. My only complaint about it is that I was hoping that they would do the Freebird rule with a New Day and have them like switch representatives between falls.
Okay.
And it kind of got teased, but it didn't happen.
But we did get the pin at the end, which was
we did.
Which was screwy. I mean, again.
Yeah, it was weird. And then I really enjoyed the main event too.
I didn't like the way the main event ended.
I didn't like the way the main event ended, but the body of the match I thought was really well done.
Yeah. My whole thing is I have a big beef. That's been my campaign over the past couple of weeks. The anti-orgy. Like WWE's obsession with like the orgies, the triple threats, the 4-ways, triple threats, fatal 4-ways, multi-tag team matches, triple threat here, triple threat there, fatal 4-way here, number one contender, 4-way, NXT or WWE or the events, pay-per-views. And it's like, they've been going hardcore with that. And I'm thinking it's at the detriment of the people working because why we got superstars over the years is because they were in like one-on-one matches, one-on-one big matches. And now it's like 3 people all like always in a match. Like the Divas, I was like, oh man, maybe they're going to make that Divas belt for Elimination Chamber a triple threat. And sure enough, it's Naomi, Paige, and fucking Nikki Bella. And it's
they can't get. It seems like WWE has this infatuation or some obsessive compulsive disorder as far as like the number 3 is concerned. Because
I think they just don't want to build any new stars. I think all the stars they could because these matches are forgettable to a certain extent. Because
I think Triple H wants to build new stars. I don't think Vince does, and I think that's the problem.
Well, he's just as guilty about fucking triple threats in NXT. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's had those.
Yeah.
I just feel like no one stands out. Like,
I kind of get what you're saying, because in a way, I mean, like, if you were to watch, like, ECW back in, like, the 90s and early 2000s before it folded, that's, like, when the triple threat match was really popularized, and because it was something different, and people wanted to see it, because it was 3 guys in the ring, and you never saw it before. I mean, you did, but it wasn't as prevalent in America as it is now. But now it seems like everything is turned into a triple threat and stuff like that, or like a fatal 4-way. And like that main event at Payback, I'll admit I was wrong about, because they made it a triple threat at first. It was supposed to be Reigns versus Orton versus Rollins, I believe. And they did that on an app vote, okay? Mm-hmm. They had us vote for what we wanted the match to be, whether it would be a singles match between Rollins and Orton, a singles match between Reigns and Rollins, or a triple threat match. The fans voted for the triple threat match, which is fine, but then they changed the match and put Dean Ambrose in it, which made that vote meaningless.
Yes.
Completely meaningless. It negated the entire purpose of the whole thing. And then, like, I remember thinking this, and I don't know if you had the same thought, but you can get into it after I'm done, but once I bring it up, but they put Dean Ambrose in the match, okay? And I said on Twitter, I remember saying this, and I remember a couple people saying that I was wrong, and yeah, I in fact was, which I'm kind of shocked. But I said that the only reason why they put Ambrose in the match was so Orton and Reigns don't have to take the fall.
Oh, that's not what I thought initially.
But then, okay, I want to ask you about that, but let me finish. But then Orton took the fall, which surprised me. Mm-hmm. So I was wrong there. But what did you think about it?
Well, I remember the talk about it. I go like, well, that would be a little too obvious. WWE has its moments where it's a little too obvious, and then sometimes they're just like, yo, that's too obvious. We can't do this for this reason. I only think that Dean Ambrose actually got put into the Fatal 4-Way because of the next day, the next week, they were doing a show in Cincinnati, and that's where he's from. So I think the hometown boy to get like, a good, maybe a number on Raw, maybe to really pack out the place in Cincinnati. I thought that was why they brought him in. It was how convenient, how coincidental is him joining the title match in a Fatal 4-Way, and the go home show is in his hometown, right?
Yeah, that's a very plausible situation, so I can definitely see that, but it's like they play to the hometown crowds way too much. Even
though they kind of waste, in Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, I was talking like, man, like, that was dumb to go all out. They put him in this thing and to kind of build him up. I don't believe it anyway. I always feel like Dean Ambrose is kind of like the side hoe. While Daniel Bryan's gone, they go ahead and give him like somewhat of a push. But going into that Monday go home show and him having to face J&J, I'm just like, well, what is that doing? How is that going to help? Like, you're in a dumbass match. I think a lot of the people, they wanted to see a showcase, but I think a showcase against someone at least somewhat of a badass, somewhat, like, fuck it, do the Harper match again. That's always a good match. You give him the win because we've seen this a million times. He's beat Harper. I don't think people care in Cincinnati if this is another match with Harper. They just care to see his boy go in, kick someone's legitimate ass, and then, you know what I'm saying, go home feeling good about themselves. But they got stuck with him facing J&J Security. And then when the match came about, and I'm sitting there talking in my reaction video, I go, I don't see him taking the fall. I think as much as they fucking dick tease him, you know, in terms of, oh yeah, we're gonna give him a push. Oh, Daniel Bryan's back. Never mind. Oh, we're gonna give him a push. Oh, yeah. Oh, Daniel Bryan's back. Never mind. I was like, well, they're not going to put him in a very obvious situation where he's going to have to take the pin to make everyone else look good. And the only person I remember saying, I was like, I see Randy Orton taking the fall more than anyone because he really doesn't have anything to lose. He's Randy Orton. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's not like he's at the top of the card.
He's already established.
Yeah, he's way established. And, you know, he got pinned by the world champ, which is Rollins. And, you know, it's nothing to be ashamed of in Orton's case. And at the same time, no one's going to be kicking and bitching about how he's being buried. You know, it's just not that thing. If anything, people be like, oh, wow, they actually went with Randy Orton. Cool. You know, he'll get more applause for taking the fall than he would not taking the fall. You know?
Yeah.
So
I hate it when people use the term buried. And we've gotten into this before, and because it's like when most people use the term buried, they don't know what it means.
Yeah, we know. I was just saying, like, that's what I was saying. Like, people, he buried. But Randy Orton can't get buried. He's holding the shovel. He decides he decides if he wants to get the pin or not.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
And I'm actually like,
I didn't like the match in terms of. I think the action in it was pretty good. We get a second of the show reunion. They played that out pretty funny. But I hated that it ultimately wasn't about any of the talent in the ring ever. It was all about Kane and Triple H. Because, you know, it was like, well, whose side is Kane on, right? And that was, and when, you know, basically when he got involved with J&J, it became about, well, is he going to turn mid-match? You know, all eyes was on Kane. And then at the end, the finisher, which really pisses me off, Rollins really needs his own finisher. Like, this is crap that he has to use now, the pedigree, and then Triple H comes out, and then it becomes the Triple H show. Oh, yeah, he used...
I don't mind him using the pedigree, because he's, like, Triple H's boy.
I can't
But
stand
at the
it.
same time, it's Triple H's move, so he kind of needs his own identity.
Exactly.
And I wish, like, because I know he can't do the curb stomp, and the official word from what I've read is that the curb stomp is not banned. It is on hold, which means it could come back. It's not likely, but it could come back. And I've also, a lot of people have been wanting him to do the 450, or not the 450, but the Phoenix Splash.
That's a babyface move.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. That's a move that can be done, but it's going to get him cheered, and they don't want to do that right now because he's supposed to be a smarmy heel.
And he still gets cheered to a certain extent.
Yeah. But it's like, you ever notice, like, when someone has to change their finisher, they have to do, like, some stupid DDT? Because, I mean, Dean Ambrose, I don't know if there was never story broke that why he changed the dirty, or what was originally the Dirty Deeds, to what it is now, and it pisses me off still that they call it the Dirty Deeds because it's not.
I have this idea that I think it's because of EC3, TNA, Ethan Carter III. He uses that same move as a finisher. It's the same exact move. It's basically the Bulldog DDT.
Well, Matt Taven uses it in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, and I think
that doesn't mean anything.
I know, but like I think they were like, we're better than this. I think that's what it ultimately turned into. Like, hey, we're better than this. Let's just switch it up to an armbar DDT.
It's not an armbar DDT.
Whatever.
No, it's a normal DDT.
I thought he hooks the arms.
No, he doesn't.
I thought it's like he's basically doing what Mankind does. It's the same armbar DDT. He ain't just hitting a regular DDT. He's hooking.
You might be right. I don't.
Yeah, he's hooking the arms, and he drops them like Mankind.
Yeah, I still hate it, but
yeah, well,
I guess a double arm DDT is better than a regular DDT.
Well, the regular DDTs don't do shit anyway. I don't know if you listen to
Well, they used to.
Yeah, but like right now, like you know how I have my issues with the triple threats and the fatal four ways and all that shit.
Yeah.
If you listen to the Stone Cold podcast, sorry, you know the not Stone Cold, the Steve Austin show.
Yeah.
He talks about it. He goes, man, there's an epidemic right now, and the epidemic now is like the use of the DDT, and I wish they would just back up off the DDT, but they won't back up off the DDT. You know, like it, and like.
Do you know how the DDT was invented in wrestling?
Go ahead.
It was invented by Jake Roberts.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was invented completely by accident because Jake Roberts grabbed a dude in a headlock or a front face lock, and the guy he was wrestling was so clumsy that he fell. And Jake went with him, and the guy was smart enough to stay on the ground and get pinned.
To sell it, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then that's how the DDT came about, and it used to be like a great finisher, like a move that can finish somebody off.
Yep.
Because Jake used to do it in the 80s and early 90s. Now, if anybody else does it, it's just a hope spot or a kick out at 2.
Yeah. It's you'll get like 3 or 4 DDTs in one match.
Yeah, it means nothing.
Means absolutely nothing. And but that's Stone Cold definitely talks about that in his thing. But like I say this, and the thing about Rollins and the fact that I think it's total bullshit that he has to use. You know, they've jumped around with his finisher, and I go, he's losing identity because of it. And his matches end up really hollow because before we were like, well, how is it going to end up him curb stomping someone? You know, like we were just waiting for the opportunity, just like the RKO and just like the spear. Like how is this going to be the move that finishes the match? And now that move is gone, it's like an empty shell of a fucking wrestler where it's like we don't even get an inclination of what direction the match is even going to go in, which could be a good thing, I guess, in terms of unpredictability, but it's not that in this case. It's more or less like let's play it by ear and see what move just finishes someone off. And what he's been doing is the flying knee to a super kick to the face, and that's like, no. And then, he used the RKO in Extreme Rules. And then just now, like just this past this Payback, and then last Monday's Raw, he used the pedigree, and I just go like, dude, we're gonna stop caring about this guy real soon if he doesn't have means to his identity to finishing the match. You mean
if he does something different every time?
Well, we need something. I mean, we're habitual characters. I mean, we as humans are habitual people. We follow, that's why the 5 moves of doom exist. Because you know what? There's something that we can identify with almost instantly. A lot of the times we don't want to think things through. Even the most smarky of the smart wrestling fan wants to see something habitually. You know what I'm saying? Whether when they watch it, how they watch it, and how the moves in the ring go about, especially the finisher. And he's like has no identity now. Like he has like all of it. Like if Randy Orton didn't do the RKO anymore, how important would the Randy Orton character be?
Not very important. It's kind of like when they told him to stop doing the punt.
Yeah.
Because of the concussion awareness.
Well,
it kind of took his edge away.
And they did that with Sheamus.
I completely agree with what you're saying. I mean, they took the curb stomp away. They kind of had to because of all the concussion lawsuits that are going on right now. And like I said earlier, it's not banned; it's just on hold.
But no, I heard that Vince, he was like, fuck that move after WrestleMania, and watching Brock Lesnar have to wait for it. He looks like a damn fool waiting for that curb stomp. Like, he just hated the way it looked. And the fact that Brock Lesnar had to sit for it. Like, that was what I heard.
That's totally different from what I heard.
Yeah. I imagine
I heard it's like, because Luther Reigns and a couple other guys are suing the company currently because they got concussions they went untreated. And while this lawsuit is pending, they decided to change Rollins' finisher. And I mean, I've never heard reports of it being, or read reports of it, like, actually hurting somebody.
Yeah.
But I think while this is going on, they want to have it, like, so that even if it hasn't hurt anybody, they don't want to have him keep doing it and, like, eventually hurt someone.
Well, if you have the time, look up the whole Vince Brock Lesnar thing. I guess it's multifaceted how and why they decided to do that. And I know that, like, I guess concussion awareness is always going to be one of those things, along with, like, the wellness plan and all that shit. But, like, they need to figure something out quick with Rollins, because he's losing a lot of substance just for the simple, as a heel, for the fact that he doesn't have his defining move. And now we're just like, okay, yeah. But anyway.
Yeah.
So, and I hate that, because this is one of my biggest. It's gonna be a forgettable match. No one's gonna be talking about this fatal 4-way years from now. They'll probably talk about, like, the spot where, triple power bomb. But, like, we're gonna talk about Kane, and we're gonna talk about Triple H. We're not gonna talk about the guys in the ring, and it just blows. That's why it just pissed me off. Monday, and we'll jump through all the fucking hoops, but we're not, we'll jump, we're not have to deal with shit. But, like, the Raw debut of Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I thought it was really well done. I didn't have any issue with it. The only issue if I do have an issue, it's the fact that they teased the open challenge. John Cena came out and he talked about the open challenge, and then Kevin Owens came out
with the belt.
Yeah, with the NXT Championship, and then put over the importance of the belt, and then said, "I'm not going to accept your challenge tonight. I want it at Elimination Chamber."
No, he said it on his terms.
Or on his terms, but the match was signed for Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
So I just kind of, like, I'm happy that he's getting a pay-per-view match. I think this match is going to be great, but it kind of defeats the whole purpose of the open challenge. And, like, tonight, I wonder if we're even going to get a John Cena open challenge, because the Kevin Owens match is still pending for Sunday.
But it's not for the belt, though. That's the only thing. It's not for the belt. It's just a match.
Okay. Well, then, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
Because, like, why do it and save it for a pay-per-view if it's not for the title?
Because I think there's a backstory here. I think the way there's a bit of a contest between the main roster and NXT roster. And I think this is, and one of the things that I was talking to about Jake is like, man, I hope there wasn't no real heat, behind the curtain with Vince or say Kevin, or, I mean, did that I guess that shoot between Cena and Orton, Cena and Owens, did that go to planned? And then was
I don't know.
Was it scripted for him to step on the belt?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
One thing that stuck out to me, and I don't know if you caught this, but Cena was talking about. He said during the promo something along the lines of Kevin Steen being new.
Yeah.
To the WWE, and then Kevin Owens came in and basically said, "I've been wrestling longer than you have."
Yeah. So you're not teaching me anything.
Cena look like shit.
So you ain't teaching me nothing. If anything, I'm gonna teach you. Yeah. So I guess the point I'm making is like, this, and when it went backstage, when you finally find out that the match between them will be at Elimination Chamber, that it's not going to be for the belt, because in Owens' eyes, kayfabe, right? This kayfabe hour, kayfabe minute. The NXT belt means more, and the NXT brand means more.
Which it does,
and that it doesn't give you more money.
It doesn't, but like,
it's all about the money, buddy. You've been following. It's about money.
Yeah, I know, but like from a fan's perspective and like quality wrestling, like I'm about like quality wrestling and stuff like that. I always have been, and I just see more quality at NXT than I do on Raw or SmackDown.
Oh, obviously.
Well, Raw particularly, because SmackDown doesn't matter.
Oh, I mean, obviously, but I'm just saying in general, that's what they're pushing over, and I don't know, because I guess in the end, Vince signs away to this shit. He signed away.
But like with NXT versus Raw, it's like Raw is 3 hours, NXT is an hour, if it's not a live special. But to me, it's quality over quantity.
But it's developmental. I mean, it's no more. I mean, it's what it is. Okay, you got some guys from the indies, and they're slowing them down. Ultimately, that's what NXT is, developmental. Let's slow these motherfuckers down to give them a little longevity. Say take people like, Hideo Itami, Daniel Bryan, and Sami Zayn, who are now suffering from injuries because they don't slow the fuck down. It just goes to show that like these guys with a little bit of tread on them need to take heed to the idea of slowing the fuck down, especially if you're not built to where you can sustain a lot of like hits and injuries. You're already 10 years in, and now you're getting to the main roster, and like your body says that you're a vet, versus your rookie status on the roster. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. And I also think that Triple H, I think he's gonna be Triple H's sort of hitman. He's gonna kind of be like his one man shield. Like I think Cena is one of the guys that he's gonna have him go after, because Rollins is still the chosen champion. We don't want Cena anywhere close to being at the top of the card anymore to wrestle for the championship. And I think this is a scheme from Triple H to keep Cena occupied and not want to go after the heavyweight championship. Does that
because you don't see, you're kind of like me where you don't see John Cena getting a 16th title reign?
Oh, I see him getting a 16th title reign. I'd say he's going to be back real soon. He's still an asset. The fact that he's actually dropped to the mid card is actually better. Like, it's helped him more because he's getting the fresh matches. He's going against the younger talent. He's getting more attention.
Yeah, and it feels fresh. And then when you bring him back into the main event, it's going to feel fresh again.
Yeah, and I think like,
except for the marks that will always hate John Cena.
Well,
no matter what he does.
Well, I can't really speak. I don't have a response for that. Maybe they feel that way. Maybe they won't feel that way going into it.
Well, because I've already seen like people change their opinion on Cena because he's in the mid card.
Yeah.
That like hated him before, but now like if you like once John Cena loses the United States Championship, people are just going to complain and bitch again because they're like, oh, he's going to be in the main event again, and oh, it's going to suck.
Well, how about this? Let's think of it this way. The fact that he's doing the U.S. Open Challenge with the fresh and new talent, let's just say he does get that 16th. Do you think he'll do the same thing with the tag, where every time he comes out, he's actually going to open up a challenge with the World Heavyweight Championship? And how would you feel about that?
No, I don't. I think with what they're doing with the U.S. title, they're trying to build prestige to that belt.
Well, not anymore. Not when someone's standing on that motherfucker. It's a wash now.
I disagree.
Seriously? You can't.
Yeah.
Surely you can't be serious.
Standing on a belt is not that big of a deal.
And holding up another one that's supposed to be lesser than?
Well, I didn't see it as him trashing that belt. I saw it as Kevin Owens putting over the importance of the NXT Championship.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I saw it as. But I don't think it sacrificed the importance of the other title.
That title was looking good until it got stepped on.
I disagree. I still think it looks good.
I'm surprised.
The only way you could devalue a title is by doing what Medusa did to the women's title, or doing what Shane Douglas did back on August 27th, 1994, to the NWA title.
I'm just saying. You bring up Medusa or Sable, whatever the fuck. What was it?
Medusa.
Medusa and okay.
And Shane Douglas.
No, I was just saying Alundra Blaze.
Yeah.
Okay. I was waiting for her to come out, like after he stepped on the belt, come out with a trash can and just throw the fucking U.S. title in the trash can. Like that's
Why would she do that?
Because man, that was big. That was big to me. I was like, man, they went weeks upon weeks in making that belt awesome. And now all of a sudden, you got this guy standing on it, lifting up another belt like that belt ain't shit. That's a huge visual, man. That's a huge visual, man. Are you serious? That's a long-standing image. If you remember anything from Kevin Owens, say 4 or 5 years from now, you remember him standing on the U.S. belt, holding up the NXT belt, like fuck your couch. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't think of it. I can't think of it as lightly as you like that, man. I just go like, and now it's not even going to be up for grabs at the Elimination Chamber, and we're still up in the air if they're going to actually have one tonight. Maybe he'll come out and be like, you know what? I thought this belt would meant something. Then I meet a young buck who just says, fuck this belt. So you know what? I'm going to actually hold the belt to abeyance, and my new focus is on Kevin Owens. Wouldn't that be wild?
I suppose. It depends how they go about doing it.
What if I called that? What if that happens tonight?
It's not going to.
Dude, I'll put my money on it.
If it does, you can call me out on it for being wrong, but I don't see that happening.
So, moving on, because we got a lot of people showing up. Now, let's talk about NXT Takeover. Two things that stood out to me. It was really good. I thought it was really great. But the women's division is in a bit of a pickle in terms of the main roster versus what's happening down at NXT.
Okay.
The Divas division on the main roster needs an overhaul. You talk about that match between Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. And that
match was phenomenal.
It's just hard to believe at some point that those women are going to go to the main roster
and have 2-minute matches
and actually just be a prop.
Yep.
I mean, I can see Sasha Banks showing up to be the valet of, like, I don't know, Zack Ryder, right? Hey, oh yeah,
That's not gonna happen.
I'm just saying though. She dresses like a fucking Guido. Like, she presents herself like a Guido. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm just saying, I mean, hypothetically speaking, you know, and you look at Sasha Banks, not Sasha Banks, you look at Becky Lynch, like, she'll show up because she's Scottish they'll like somehow pair her up with fucking Neville or some shit, or or like somebody.
They already did this stereotypical when she first came into NXT. They already did the stereotypical Irish gimmick with her, and it basically turned her into a female Sheamus, and it lasted like 2 weeks before we got the look that we have now.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, which is like Fifth Element. She went all Fifth Element on us and shit.
Yeah.
But like that performance, I remember that Fatal 4-Way. Even though it was a Fatal 4-Way, it's still like every single woman in that match made something of themselves. Whether it was Charlotte Flair, whether it was Bayley, whether it was Becky Lynch or Sasha Banks. Like that was, to me, one of the greatest wrestling matches I've ever seen, let alone Divas women's match. This here,
all the women's matches on the NXT specials have been really good, minus the the women's tag match that happened at this last special.
Yeah, that was sloppy.
That was trash.
Yeah, that was very sloppy.
Emma needs to go away.
I don't think Emma needs to go away. I think
he sucks.
I think the who's ever writing creative need to make up their mind what they're going to do with her, whether keep her around or just let her go ultimately.
Well, it's kind of weird because they fired, like, she apparently stole an iPhone case or
I remember.
iPad case, whatever it was, and then they fired her, and then they realized that they're stupid and they fined or suspended people for a lot worse, so they rehired her like 2 hours later, like literally.
But then
the storyline, she's not going to do anything.
But the storyline with Bayley and the fact that like they're beefing now is like that she stole some shit from Bayley. You know about this, right?
Yeah, that's fine. I just don't think it's going to go anywhere.
It's dumb. Like, why would you even put that in a storyline? If anything, you want to. I understand, like,
because they're similar. The only reason why I could think that they're doing it is because their characters are kind of similar. So they want to play up the similarities between those two characters in a feud, which I think is dumb.
No, but the idea of using the storyline to something that actually happened, like kleptomania, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, she stole a fucking iPad cover. Oh yeah, this storyline.
WWE does that stuff all the time though, because they're assholes.
But this is a pointless. I mean, I understand like a adultery theme or something like that, but like. This happened, her stealing that shit happened almost a year ago. And now you decide to put it in a storyline? On NXT? It's just weird. Like, they don't know what to fucking do with her. You mean to tell me you're going to use something that really happened? You may as well say, that's like saying, like, oh yeah, we're going to book Jack Swagger as a guy who's has a drug addiction. You know? Like, now. Like, now we're gonna make it into a storyline. Like, that means
I'm all for it.
That's the heavy gauntlet of saying like, man, we don't even know what to do with your ass.
I want that Jack Swagger thing to work.
You want him to be a drunk?
I want him to be a drug addict, and I want Adam Rose to be his drug dealer. Because I've always wanted, like, ever since the Adam Rose character came up, it's like. They need to turn him heel and make him a drug dealer.
Well, they need to do something.
It'd be awesome. They never will, but... And, like, did you see... I don't know if we talked about it, but did you see that E60
Yes, I did. They dropped the ball. They dropped the ball on everybody in that whole
I've
fucking
got a
shit.
newfound respect for Adam Rose, Ray LaPon, Leo Kruger, whatever you want to call him.
Well, obviously... I mean, I think the story's awesome. We all can relate to a certain extent, and we all can feel. But like, you mean to tell me a guy who's super loyal to his woman, a guy who's completely dedicated to his child, and now he's like lip locking every fucking second with Rosa Mendez? That's weird to me. That's so weird to me.
Yeah. And she's gross.
But back, no, she's not. But back to
she is.
The Divas match, well, the women's match. I think the WWE main roster when it comes to the Divas is in a lot of trouble, and they're gonna have to come to a crossroads to what direction they're gonna have to go in, because those girls aren't divas. in NXT. Whether, even though the match sucked, but like you take what Charlotte, you take Bayley, you take Sasha Banks, you take who did see, I don't know much about that new chick, Alexa Bliss. What's her name?
She's not new.
Oh, I don't like her.
She's been around. Are you talking about Dana Brooke?
Dana Brooke.
She's terrible. They signed her because she's a fitness model, and they're calling her the Total Diva, which is a spin or a takeoff of the Total Divas show, which I think is stupid.
Yeah.
And the first time I saw her, like, the people that attended tapings that she was at said she was not good. They had to reshoot her match a couple times.
Wow.
Because she couldn't get the spots down and whatnot. And that's, somebody's bad when they have to reshoot a match.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard that happen on SmackDown before, but to have it happen on NXT is not a good thing.
Well, it needs to happen on NXT. It's developmental.
Well, yeah, but I haven't heard it happening that much.
Well, because
like they don't reshoot matches if it sucks the first time.
Well, a lot of those people aren't as green as you think they are. They have had a background in indie wrestling. The guys that are there, and it seems that she doesn't have anything.
No, because she's a fitness model, and like I don't know why WWE continues to sign people that have nothing to do with wrestling.
Because you know what, it is about the look. It is.
But they got lucky once. They got lucky once, and with Trish Stratus, they're trying to catch light, and that was lightning in a bottle. They can't catch it twice, and that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, they need to do something because she's making everyone look bad. Because if
she looks like, when I first saw her, she looks like a stripper trying to be a wrestler / stripper in a wrestling ring, and it's just awkward.
Well, she just looks too trashy to me.
Yeah.
But
she's almost worse than Eva Marie and Cameron.
Yep. Or, if anything, probably at the same level of horrible. But, yeah, but, like, enough about her. I'm just saying, like, the other chicks, like, you know, your Bayley, your Sasha, your Becky, and your Charlotte, when they get called up to the main roster, again, there's going to be a real problem. Because with the girls that they already have there now, which Tamina, the girls that are on top, Tamina, Paige, and Nikki Bella, and then, you know, and I love Naomi, I really do. I think, you know, she makes it look easy, but she doesn't perform at a level. At, you know, her work rate isn't at, her athleticism is what shines, not her work rate. And you look at someone like a Sasha Banks, her work rate is ridiculous. And I feel like that Divas belt is just going to look like stupid on any of those NXT girls that come up. That's if they decide to throw them into a women's wrestler, you know, gimmick. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, they already, I mean, Paige was the first NXT women's champion, and she's already held the Divas title, and I still hate how they had to strip her of the NXT title because she won the WWE title, but yeah.
I think that Divas belt is going to become a joke, and that they need.
Well, it already is a joke.
Well, they need to bring back. I know it's already a joke, but they need.
When it was unveiled as a butterfly.
Yeah.
It's like it's the butterfly belt. It's completely meaningless.
They need to bring back that women's belt. That women's belt, man. Like, I think there's going to be a cry. Like, say when those girls from NXT go up, there's going to be like an outcry to get rid of that fucking belt. Like, there's going to be like a whole movement. Like, get rid.
There should be.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't mind it. Like, I've heard this thrown around before. Like, get rid of the Divas title, take the NXT title, rebrand it as like the NXT / WWE Women's Championship.
Yeah.
Like, just have that belt on both shows. Because then you could actually get, like, you could have different divisions, but the champion, like, you could get depth to your champion.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, even if the matches, like, say on Raw suck, you always have the matches on NXT to look forward to.
Exactly. Yep. And then to the meat and potatoes, you get Sami Zayn catch another beatdown from Kevin Owens, and guess who shows up?
What's that?
Hey, guess who shows up?
I'm trying to think.
Surely you're not kidding. Surely.
I'm doing two things at once, so I'm like multitask. My brain's trying to multitask.
You should be fucking ashamed of yourself right now. Samoa Joe shows the fuck up, dude.
Yeah.
And I go,
okay, yeah.
Wow, talk about moving the needle, right? So now you got Kevin Owens showing up on fucking Raw and facing John Cena in a WWE pay-per-view match. He hasn't had a superstars. He hasn't had a fucking main event. He hasn't had anything. And he's already getting a pay-per-view shot, right? Like, a special event match against basically the face of the company. And now you have Samoa Joe showing up to beef with Kevin Owens. And it's just like, whoa, you're really moving the needle right now. Like, I mean, what was your reaction?
And when Samoa Joe came out?
Yeah. Was it as big of a pop or ovation when Kevin Owens showed up to Raw?
It was a bigger reaction from me personally. Like, I didn't know if he was going to show up because you had heard that there's a possibility that he might, but there's also rumblings that he's got some indie dates that he still has to complete, which I guess he's going to be allowed to work independent dates while he's still in NXT, or while he's down in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
So, but just like I had heard two conflicting things, that yes, he's showing up, and two, he's not showing up because he's still got some dates left on his calendar to fulfill before he shows up. But I thought, and I said this on, I think, Eyes on the Ring last week, last night because we didn't have a show because of technical difficulties. But the week before TakeOver, I said that you have to debut him at TakeOver if it's a possibility, because debuting him at a taping isn't going to do anything.
No.
Because it's canned and people know about it.
Mm-hmm. But we're overlooking one other important factor in this too. That he's showing up as Samoa fucking Joe. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's huge. And like, he came out and had, like, I mean, Hideo Itami showed up as Kenta.
Yes, and he changed it on the
But then he changed it.
Yeah, right
there.
Right there.
I don't think they're going to change Samoa Joe, because if you look at his shirt that he had,
mm-hmm.
it said Samoa Joe, and they're already selling shirts that say Samoa Joe.
Yes, for WWE, yeah.
So I think it's going to stay.
That's
but what
amazing.
I heard, the only thing that is changing with his branding is that they are not calling him the Samoan Submission Machine. They are calling him the Submission Specialist.
Oh, we got another Taz, huh?
So, yeah. I guess.
Wow. I'm just blown away.
Well, Taz was the human suplex machine.
Oh, that's what it is. All right.
And he carried that over to WWE, if I remember right.
I wonder what negotiations went down for him to keep his name. Like, no one keeps their name. Who's the last person that kept CM Punk?
Yeah. CM Punk is probably the last one to keep his name.
Amazing.
And I don't know if you've heard about this, but there's rumblings of a third CM Punk Samoa Joe match happening. But I don't know if that's a possibility because Samoa Joe is in WWE now, and CM Punk is not a wrestler anymore.
Yeah, he's in a courtroom.
Yeah, and he's gonna get his ass kicked when he has his first fight, and I can't wait.
But this is a no CM Punk zone right here, so we can stop talking about CM Punk.
You don't like him either?
Who is he?
Okay, good. Okay, we're on the exact same page, so I just want to make sure.
Oh, I might even have to edit that shit out.
Well, that's fine. I don't care.
No, I'm kidding. But I just go, wow, like what is to happen right now? Like, because what I guess is that, like, okay, you want to. I know he's doing his indie dates and he has to finish doing those and stuff, and I think this even crazier that they're allowing him to do. This guy has some fucking muscle, and like, how the fuck was he able to negotiate this? Like, it's blowing my fucking mind. Just blowing.
Yeah, I don't know.
They need to change his shitty ass music. I tell you that much.
I don't mind it.
That was horrible.
I don't mind it. Plus, have you noticed how, like, ripped he is now?
Well, I saw him. He was just here. He was just here in Charlotte not too long ago. Me and Jake and Fritz went to.
He wrestled Cedric, right?
Yeah. And that was a shitty finish. That pissed me off. But nevertheless, it was a good match anyway. And I got to see him. I was like, man, he's looking all right, man. I mean, say compared to what? Because it's good between him and Steen. It's like, well, who's gonna lose the shirt first?
Yeah.
Who's gonna lose the shirt first? Because you can't have a lot of. That's the thing. We got two guys with the same build, same sort of like, like even though they're big guys, they're still like dad bods. And you can only have one of them in the cipher than two. Now, I wonder how that's gonna play out. Like, you just can't have two of those guys running around the main roster looking like that, right?
Yeah.
Because my whole thing with Samoa Joe is like, okay, you go ahead and speed up the process. You go ahead and you probably have him on for like a month on NXT, because you have to take in consideration the injuries that exist between Hideo, Zayn, and I'm thinking that's why they moved him up as fast as they did. They went on and wrote the contract because of the injuries between Zayn, Hideo Itami, and Daniel Bryan, who are going to be out for an exponential amount of time. I mean,
well, and you have to remember too that age is not on Samoa Joe's side.
No.
So I think he's like 38.
Yeah.
So they have to get him up and doing something of relevance pretty damn quick for it to mean anything.
And I'm thinking, give him 3 years on the main roster, call it a fucking career, put him in the Hall of Fame, and then give him a job within the WWE. You hit it right on the head. I just don't see him lasting as long, because he's the fact that he's with the WWE, he's a main man right now, and I think Triple H is really high on him. I think Vince is probably pretty high on him as well. I think he's not high on his body, his physique, but I think he knows him. I think he's been keeping up with his work, and he knows he's going to come in and help generate dollars, and that's for the most part. But like, if he goes through like a 3-year tenure on the main roster, and
Samoa Joe's 36.
Yeah, and he'll get like a sort of a veteran's contract. He's made, man. He's made. Why not? Like, go ahead, dude. I want to see him in the WWE Hall of Fame. I think he's beyond deserved it more than anybody that's on the come up right now. Whether it's
Samoa Joe,
yeah, more than anybody.
I don't think he's gonna make it in the Hall of Fame. I honestly, he'll make it. Like, if Ring of Honor ever does like a Hall of Fame, Samoa Joe will be their first inductee, or the first guy they induct.
Well,
TNA, their Hall of Fame is a joke. I'm surprised that Samoa Joe's not in that. But I don't see Samoa Joe ever getting into the WWE Hall of Fame. It's not a knock on Samoa Joe, because I think the guy's great. But I don't know if he's going to do, because he's 38. I think I said he's 36. So he's got a while got 4 years until he's 40. So it just depends what they do, like, with him within that time. Like, a lot of people in the Hall of Fame have had long careers.
Yeah.
Most people. Like, the women haven't, but, like, the male wrestlers that are in there have had long careers, and I just don't know if Samoa Joe can get a long, or like a Hall of Fame career out of a, like, 5-6 year run, depending on...
But
do you know how long his contract is for?
No.
Okay.
But I'm thinking, for the fact that they're keeping his name Samoa Joe, unlike, say, Kenta, or say even Tyler Black, or even what was Finn Balor's name before he changed it?
Prince
Devitt. What I would assume that Samoa Joe would make, even with a short run in the WWE, is the fact that they're keeping his name, and the fact that it's not, oh yeah, here's the start of his career. I think they'll probably work out a thing where they're gonna go get some tape, probably buy out like some tape from ROH, maybe buy out some tape from TNA, and kind of use that as a means to say, okay, this guy does have a legacy, and he's been...
I really hope they do that, because, like, with WWE, like, Sting, for instance, when he came in, they didn't even acknowledge that, like, the way they put it, they made you believe that he hadn't wrestled a match in 15 years, which is not the case, but they will not acknowledge
TNA.
Yeah. They will, however, or they may acknowledge Ring of Honor, because they have done it in the past, like with DVDs and stuff like that.
They've
thanked them for, and like the Seth Rollins Shield documentary, they had some Ring of Honor footage on that, so they thanked Ring of Honor for that footage.
But Ring of Honor is damn near like a farm. I mean, it's like the new OVW, for crying out loud. I mean, they better acknowledge their existence. I mean, god damn. They've had, like, how many between fucking Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk? That's 3 guys from Cesaro. Well, I'm talking about that's held the World Heavyweight Championship. You know, that's like 3 dudes almost consecutively outside of Randy Orton and John Cena. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's pretty hellacious. You know what you think about it. But yeah.
Not to mention that CM Punk and Daniel Bryan were both champions at the exact same time.
Yeah, one had the WWE belt, the other one had the World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah, so let's go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. You mentioned something earlier about something that you watched.
Yeah, I watched the last night. I got home from work at like 5 o'clock, I think. Or no, I got off at 4. I came home and saw on Twitter that people were talking about this show called the Lucha World Cup, done by AAA, so I decided to order the thing. I went on the website. Well, first of all, my computer decided it didn't want to work, so I ordered it on an iPad, and then my computer decided it wanted to work, so then I transferred it over to my computer, and I was able to watch it. Once I translated all the Spanish to English and navigated the page, that was the hardest part. But and then I missed like the first 30 minutes, so I had to go back and watch the first match that I missed. But overall, it was a 6-man tag team tournament, or what they call in Mexico and Chikara, like in the United States, they call them trios matches, and Lucha Underground as well, they call them trios matches, and it was an entire show strictly with 3 versus 3 matches, and it was for the $20 I spent on it.
Wow.
And the fact that it was a last minute decision, like literally like spur of the moment, last minute decision, because I didn't know anything about it. Like I said, I got home from work, I saw that people were talking about it, so I decided to order it. If you can go out of your way and check it out, go to luchaworldcup.com. You'll need use Google Translate to navigate page. Then click on the American flag, and it'll translate it to U.S. language. But order it if you can, because it's awesome. Best $20 I've ever spent on wrestling. And what I'll say of it is, I think I said this earlier, I'm not sure if it was recorded, but WWE has a thing where they're very predictable. You kind of know what's happening. With this, it was put on by AAA, and they had, like, there was representatives from, like, Lucha Underground and Ring of Honor had a team. It was Moose, Johnny Mundo, and I can't remember the third guy off the top of my head. But, so it was a Lucha Underground Ring of Honor team. They had a team from AAA. They had a team from Japan. They had teams from all over the place. They had the dream team of Alberto El Patron, Mystices, and Rey Mysterio. They were the first team announced. They won the entire thing, which was pretty much something I knew was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, like, it was kind of predictable in that sense, but it was still enjoyable to watch, even though, like, going in, I kind of knew who was going to win the whole thing, but it's still a great value. It was a 4-hour show, and for $20, you can't beat it.
And have you watched the? I got through the first hour so far of the Global Wars. I
have not seen any of that.
Okay. Never mind.
And yeah, I don't know if I plan on it, just because there's only so much wrestling I can watch in the day.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Because as soon as you get behind,
especially now that I have a new job and stuff like that, like, I don't have all the time that I used to. So, like, I'm gonna have to pick and choose what I want to watch. Like, Lucha Underground and Ring of Honor will stay, like, my number 1, number 2 priority. But everything else, I'm gonna have to, like, pick and choose what I want to watch.
Yeah. It's a good time to be, and it's something I spoke about on Peter Talk SmackDown. It's like, man, you know, people want to talk shit about, like, the wrestling product, and I think a lot of people direct most of their hatred towards the WWE, and for good reason. They have reason to, but at the same time, you know, I hate to say, well, if you don't like it, don't watch it. I just go, man, like, try to find something out of it that you enjoy.
Yeah, well,
you know,
I would say, if you don't like WWE, don't watch it.
I can't do that, though. I go, find something within the product that you appreciate.
Yeah, I can tell somebody to, if you're sick of what WWE is doing, stop watching it, come back to it later. But in the meantime, watch something else.
Yeah. And there's enough to fucking watch between New Japan, between
odds are there's going to be
AAA, Lucha Underground, ROH,
CMLL.
It's a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff that are getting a little bit of, you know, that you could actually probably find uploads to, and all that stuff. It's definitely worth it, man. And, you know, just 4 years ago, you were just stuck to TNA and WWE, and now there's this whole, like, influx of, like, really good promotions and decent enough talent to where, you know, you can find something that you actually like. And I'm excited. I've been watching again. I started watching wrestling again in 2008. I got jumped back on the bandwagon around that time. And
I've been watching wrestling nonstop since 1989.
Yeah, that's good for you. But I was saying, it's like, well,
I don't know how I made it through 95 because that was a terrible year.
yeah. But I was thinking, at one point, I was like, man, am I only stuck with just this forever? And show now.
Some people think that.
But yeah,
but you're definitely not.
Yeah, it's not like that now. So it's
even if Lucha Underground didn't exist, and before Lucha Underground did exist, and I think I've mentioned this before on the show, but if you want something different, go on YouTube and search a guy by the name of the Cubs Fan, and he puts to get playlists or weekly playlists together of CMLL and AAA. So if you want quality wrestling and it's all free, you can go there and watch it. Like Alberto El Patron is my favorite wrestler in all of wrestling right now. So anything he's on, I will watch. And he's not even in the WWE. It's a shame that he was, and they didn't do more with him because now the guy's just killing it in AAA and wherever he goes.
Maybe that's what needed to happen with his career, though.
Yeah. Well, and plus, I don't know, near the end of his run, it kind of seems like he was, just phoning it in and unmotivated.
Yeah.
But now he's just dead on with everything he does.
Well, he has new life.
Yeah, and, I was never, I was a fan of him in WWE, but, not a fan like I am now. To say that he's, my favorite wrestler within all of wrestling right now, that's huge, and it's because the guy is putting out some great stuff.
It's funny. You talk about your favorite wrestler. I think in terms of, a guy that I'm most looking forward to see in the ring, especially the WWE ring, is Uhaa Nation. When they introduced, they haven't given him a name yet since he's been on NXT, since he's, been called up to do NXT. And when at TakeOver, when they showed all the people that they had, coming up, and they had Uhaa at the end, and the place just went ballistic.
And you knew that was going to happen. That's product placement. That's why they put him on the end.
Yeah. They know they got an asset with him, and I'm really looking. I think he has the potential at this point in time to be my favorite wrestler once he finally puts some trunks on, and they give him a name, and he starts just kicking ass.
As long as they don't make him a stereotype.
Yeah.
That's my fear.
Well, yeah, he is black. I mean, that's always going to be the major concern. It's always going to be the major concern. I feel like all the black talent that's on the WWE right now, and I don't think it has anything to do with the E60 thing, but you look at the multifaceted, you look at someone like Xavier Wood, who is really multifaceted outside of the ring. I think he can be a really good commentator. I think he can really probably step in and be a commentator within the next, if you know what I'm saying, after the New Day, if they got nothing for him, put him behind a microphone. Last Monday, when he was doing the whole, was it Monday? No, it was Thursday. It was Thursday. On SmackDown, when they had a four-man tag team match, and they had the New Day and the primetime players on commentary. Xavier Wood really stood out in terms of, being on the mic as a worker. I don't know. That's another thing I'm looking forward to as well. Because I think he outshined Phillips, he outshined Saxton and King. So, I mean, he has the potential not to be pegged as a silly stereotype.
I hope you're right.
We'll see. But let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, man. Get your plugs in.
Well, first of all, I feel like this show is kind of all over the place. So
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. I don't know if that was my fault or if it just...
No, that's how we do it, baby. Right. That's how we do it. The New Day.
All right.
Feel the power.
I just want to make sure because, this one just felt like it was kind of like an all-over-the-place show, which isn't bad, but not something I'm used to. But I am Nathan. You can follow me on Twitter at Headliner5. That is at Headliner, the number 5. Follow Eyes on the Ring at Eyes on the Ring. Visit the website, eyesonthering.com. We did not do a radio show last night because Blog Talk Radio was being an asshole. So I couldn't get in, and we couldn't do a show, so we will be back on the air on Sunday. But you can follow them at Eyes on the Ring, follow Elite Podcast Network at Elite Podcast Net, and I also want to give a shout out. A friend of mine does a podcast for it's a show called Sportscast Radio, and last night he had me on. It was very impromptu because I didn't have my usual show, so I went on his, but we talked for about 20-25 minutes about New Japan and stuff like that. But you can follow them at Sportscast Radio on Twitter, and then if you go to blogtalkradio.com/sportscastradio, you can listen to all those shows. So give them a follow. I've known this guy for 11 years, so I'm good friends with them, and so it was a good time. So definitely check them out. Get the word out that they exist. So
word up. And for those who are listening and looking forward to more PJTW Central content, be sure to tune in. We got Peter's Raw recap coming up tonight after Monday Night Raw. Just a quick jab at the matches and how I feel about them. And then we have Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, which is me and Jake Rondi, and we're just going to do an hour, 15 minutes worth of talking about Monday Night Raw and and review and the discussion. And then being that Elimination Chamber is coming up, we are doing a YouTube video and audio, but you can see us on YouTube give our Elimination Chamber predictions. So what's the card looking like so far? So far we have a triple threat with the Divas. We have the Intercontinental Elimination Chamber match. Then we have the Tag Team Champion match in the Elimination Chamber. We got Owens versus Cena. We got Ambrose versus Rollins. Is there anything else?
I don't think so. That's more than I thought that was going on, because I've been out of the loop kind of. Yeah. So I knew about the title or the WWE title match, and I knew about the two chamber matches, but I hadn't heard. Oh, and Cena Owens, but I hadn't heard anything else.
Okay.
So
because I wouldn't be surprised if this is just a 2-hour show.
I think it's going to be a full 3 hours.
Full 3?
Yeah. Well, when it was announced, I wasn't sure if they were going to make it like the King of the Ring and do 1 hour or a 1 hour thing and just have both the Elimination Chambers matches, and that was it. But I think it's going to be a full 3 hour deal. Okay.
But yeah, it's
we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
I have the day off that day too, so I'll be able to watch it.
Sweet. So. And it's funny too, because two things. The 30th is a house show here in Greensboro.
Yeah.
They're gonna.
Are you going?
Yeah, I'm totally gonna go.
Sweet.
So yeah,
house shows rule.
Yeah, they are good. I mean, I have DJ on Saturday nights, so I'm gonna be pushing it. If I can go with somebody, it starts at 7:00, I think, and then it ends at I think it's earlier than that. I think it starts at 6:30 or something like that. But anyway.
Yeah, house shows usually start hella early.
Yeah, so I'm going to catch that before I go into work. And then I think the Elimination Chamber, moving forward, will only be in Corpus Christi. I think that's going
to... I think what they're going to do is... Because the issue with the Chamber, why they didn't have it... Because the last one they had was in 2014, I believe.
Yep.
Well, because I was there, so I should know that. But because I've been to 2 of those events, but they were going to bring it back in February, but they had issues with arenas that could carry it on the ceiling, and this arena in Corpus Christi agreed to do it.
Yep.
So if they make it a recurring thing, which I'm fine with because I love the concept of the chamber match.
In Corpus Christi,
it's always
yeah,
it's always going to be in Corpus Christi.
I think that's pretty cool, actually. What you think about it? Like, yeah, Corpus Christi, the home of the Elimination Chamber. You know?
Yeah, but every time I hear, this is weird, and every time I hear the name Corpus Christi, Texas, I think of that Raw that had to be canceled
because of
Chris Benoit.
Oh yeah, that. Oh man, talk about puns here.
Yeah, because I think that was supposed to be in that very same arena that Elimination Chamber is taking place in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we will only see. Let's go ahead and get the hell up out of here, man. And for those who are watching, my Periscope went out like maybe 3 minutes ago. It's just old ass phone. Well, anyway, for the people that were watching, and next time I think I'll probably try it again next time. Do Periscope taping of the two of us talking. But other than that, if you're listening on SoundCloud, be sure to check out what Nathan got going on his side of the spectrum, Eyes on the Ring, this, that, and the other. Subscribe, comment, rate, do all these things. Leave a comment, share. Just hit that share button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, say we suck or something. But anything, it doesn't matter. Just any kind of interaction, any kind of sharing of what we're doing over here, whether it's over here with PJTW Central or what he's doing with Eyes on the Ring. We need your help, guys. We definitely need your help to make sure that, we get good, healthy wrestling conversation going, man. So, well, on that note, on behalf of Nathan Newman, I'm Peter Day, and you've been listening to the Neu Daye podcast, episode 2. If you're listening tonight before Raw or after Raw, enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day, and have an amazing week. Any last words for you?
No, I think I'm good. Just
all right.
Have fun out there, be safe, don't do anything stupid, and have a good week.
All right, they're already doing something stupid by listening to this. All right, y'all, peace.
Peace.